Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the car market and where car values are going. Pretty self-explanatory, but before we get into the video, I do want to mention if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into the video. So let's just make this pretty quick and simple. What you need to know is that the market is slowly declining. Kind of what I said in prior videos as to my guess as to what's going to happen over the course of 2022. And well, guess what? That's what's happening. So basically, most used car values are slowly declining. Now, there are certain sectors that are getting hit a lot harder than others. And so I just want to kind of go through the breakdown of all that. And then we'll finish things up with going over what you should do as a consumer. So first off, in terms of the inexpensive vehicle sector, this is not seeing a whole lot of depreciation because there's still quite a bit of demand for inexpensive vehicles and inexpensive fuel efficient vehicles. So if you own one of these or if you're planning on buying one of these, then understand that there's not going to be a lot of depreciation yet. So you still have a chance to get more money as a trade-in, and you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium to get a car like this. And my guess as to why this is happening is first off, with inexpensive cars, those have been the cars that have seen the most appreciation over the last year because there's been so much demand for them. So that market's going to be a little bit harder to break. And then on top of that, we have really high gas prices right now. So a lot of people are looking to downsize their vehicle to a car that gets better gas mileage. And so, yeah, just supply and demand. And so that market's still pretty crazy. Now, if we go from that market to, trucks and SUVs, and this is going to contain like larger sized SUVs. So, smaller size crossovers and everything like that is going to be in the last segment that we just talked about. And with this segment of trucks and larger sized SUVs, they're pretty much staying the same. There is a slight decline with this market, but it's not declining as much as one would think, especially considering the high gas prices that we have. It seems like the people that own these particular vehicles still have enough money to pay for gas and everything, and so they're not really too concerned about, trading in and all that kind of stuff. There is a group of individuals in this group that are, but the majority of this group is not really trading in. So yeah, values with larger trucks and SUVs, they've started to decrease a little bit, but not as much as you'd think. Now, if we go from that to sports cars, this is where things get kind of dicey because some sports cars are still trading really high and other ones not so much. And so the general trend that I've noticed is if it's newer and more hyped up, then it's still trading at a really high value. If it's not as hyped up, then not so much. It just depends on how specialty the vehicle is. So if the car that you own has a lot of production behind it, then it's probably not going to be that much of a value hold in the next little bit. But if there's not that many produced or if they're just hard to get, then yeah, it's going to be a pretty good value hold from a sports car perspective. And then if we move from that to the most interesting segment, and that is the Highlines, this is where things are getting pretty crazy. So with Highline cars, we are seeing massive depreciation numbers within certain segments. So if you get into, like your entry-level Highline cars, not so much. But if you get into the more expensive Highline cars that are, more specifically SUVs, this is where there's like tons of depreciation. A really good example is the Mercedes G-Wagon. So G63s were selling for over $300,000 all over the place, all the time. But now the values have softened a massive amount. And a lot of these G-Wagons are now selling for like mid 200s for a G63. Same exact car. So with certain Highlines, especially SUVs, we're seeing a lot of depreciation. A lot of that demand has been pulled back. And my guess as to why this is happening is because of the pullback with the stock market and cryptocurrency, right? You had a lot of new money flooding into the Highline market and trying to buy these cars, right? All those people that invested in Dogecoin at the right time, going and buying Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and all that kind of stuff, well, their fortunes are gone now. And so, well, the values are softening with those vehicles. That's at least my guess is because of the pullback again with mostly with the stock market, but then also a little bit with the cryptocurrency market. Now, the segment of Highlines that's not decreasing is again specialty vehicles, especially supercars and hybrid cars. These vehicles have somewhat softened in certain segments, but for the most part, they're still staying really high from a value perspective. Man, getting close to the end of the video and then words just don't work whatsoever. So with those particular cars, yeah, they're still going to be trading for very, very large amounts. The people that can afford these cars aren't really getting hit that much from a financial perspective with everything that's been happening. And so they're still paying massive amounts for these cars. And so, yeah, that's kind of like its own little market. And so, summing things up, what you should do as a consumer, well, here you go. So if you're going to be buying an inexpensive or fuel-efficient car, understand that you're going to have to pay a price premium right now. If you're going to be trading in a car like that, you're still going to be able to get a solid trade-in value. Bigger SUVs and trucks still have solid trade-in values behind them as well for the time being. We'll see what happens over the next little bit. And then sports cars just depends on what it is. That's such a niche market now, right? That you have to know the car at this point. So if you're gonna be looking into buying a car that's in that segment, you need to research the specific car that you're planning on purchasing quite a bit so you know what the values are gonna be like from a value hold perspective. And then if we go into Highlines, on the entry-level side of things, not too much has changed. There's still quite a bit of demand, right? So those are still holding well. And if you guys are wondering what I mean by entry level, think like, BMW, Audi, Mercedes in terms of their, lower down. When I say lower down packages, I'm talking about the cars that are priced between like $50,000 to $100,000 roughly within their lineups, basically. And then the more expensive Highlines that are, well over six figures or multi six figures from a price point perspective are taking a really big hit right now. So I probably would avoid that market for the time being, or again, just research into the specific vehicle. And, some of these vehicles could be value holds, but for the most part, it's all softening right now. And then the segment above that, that's like, ultra expensive cars, they're still selling for massive premiums, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be coming down anytime soon because the people that are buying these cars just have so much money that they don't care what's happening in the stock market and everything. But hopefully that helped you guys out. And with that being said, I'll see all of you in that next video.